I should actually be getting ready for bed, but no, I need something that's less tense. That's way too tense. This is perfect. The funeral was held a week later. I attended, of course, standing by my parents wearing a black shirt and pants. The priest's eulogy tuned out as I stared at the two coffins. I remember when I was a little guy, and my former outfit had this woolen jacket for some reason. Like a woolen vest. All I remember is that it was itchy. That's all I remember. A cold feeling built in my guts, making me queasy and nauseous. I managed to tear my eyes away, looking at the rest of the attendees. Mostly dinos and a human or two that the Halfords knew. Looks like some of them were former pilots. Not out of extended family, I assume, as there were only two baryonyxes that stood closest to the coffins. One of them was an age-old grandfather or granduncle? He was currently slumped forward with a shaky cane in his claws. The other was, Olivia. You should break this up. I feel that breaking this up and making it like a little review for the reader is great. Because it is so tragic. The only people that lived is a grandfather or uncle and Olivia. That is so sad. It's great when someone is like, that's so sad, in an excited way. Fuck you, Safi. Her expression was simply just nothing. Sleep-deprived eyes that stared blankly at the coffins that contained her parents. The exact look I had at Fang and Nasa's graves. Oh, yes, we're using the character. We're actually using Anon. The two most important figures in her life, just gone. After the eulogy is finished, the parents are lowered. Olivia's grandfather, I assume, could no longer bear any burden, his crane dropping to the ground as he simply fell to his knees atop the grass. No theatrics, no jumping on the coffin or screaming to the heavens, just kneeling there quietly. Someone helped him up at some point, and when the shoveling began, I'd noticed that my parents began to approach Olivia. I followed behind them, standing by Dad's side as he spoke up. I mean, if he's a grandfather, his knees are fucked up. Grass ain't gonna help you, buddy. Sorry. It's 2 deaths. 3 deaths. 4 deaths, technically, because he's got 2 knees. Olivia? A few seconds pass before the young baryonyx slowly turns around, eyes still peering down. My dad paused before slowly kneeling down to her level as she finally faced Edward, her gaze inching towards him. Just for like flow, she faced Edwards, but then her gaze is inching towards him. Like, again, you're mixing up your tenses and your order of operations in a lot of ways. It's really awkward. I watch as he gives a warm smile. And how the fuck is this man smiling warmly? This man just lost a very close friend, and he is taking care of this child. He is not smiling warmly. We'll take you home. Olivia was going to stay with us from now on. We sit together and eat carnival dinner. Sliced steak, roast pork. And not to forget the main dish of the century, microwave dino nuggies. Shouldn't Anon have more reservations about dino nuggies considering Fang? I don't know. Yet despite the fact that dino nuggies are delicious and irresistible, are they made of real dinosaurs? Because that's, with how people talk about it, it really does feel like they're made of real dinosaur, and that's why they're so special. Olivia didn't touch a single piece on her plate, her claws instead clutching at the side of the table, having not yet picked up a single piece of silverware. Actually, that works better. Picked up a single piece of silverware. Piss, piss. My parents are sitting beside her, trying their best to encourage her to eat. I still don't know the difference between beside and besides. I just know that sometimes Google Docs yells at me. I think the raptor-shaped ones are the most delicious. You should try one, Olivia. My mother claims. Oh, he says mom. I guess he switches. A weird thing to switch, like you usually call your parents one, or maybe you switch on context because you're being funny, but you may have softened up a little bit. Olivia murmurs something. Yeah, I guess you could murmur like that. Both my parents pausing before trying another tactic. My dad speaking up. There's wild berry ice in the freezer. They're both getting desperate, resorting to the dessert option. But even that seemed to fall flat as Olivia shook her head. I'm not hungry. She then paused, murmuring again. I want to sleep. I know some people expected me to stick with Kitty Olivia, but we are getting Smoker Olivia. We are getting the raw deal, or we are getting nothing. It's the law. Mom and Dad look at each other for a moment, nodding before looking back down. Don't use repeat verbs in the same sentence, please. Like, there are so many good. Like, the problem is that semantic satiation, it's more like a semantic trip. It's not satiated. You're not thinking about the words yet, but you are like, huh? There are a few exceptions. There are verbs and words that you just cannot get around, which are somehow immune because they are so fundamental. But like, you know what I mean. Of course, dear. Why is that uppercase? Are you German? Are all your nouns uppercase and you've been lying to me? I thought you were Spanish. Because everyone around here is fucking Spanish. He's Spanish. She's Spanish. The fucking snail is Spanish. Are there any other Spaniards I need to know about? Because I'll have you know, I'm Dutch, and I don't like the Spanish very much. I'll fucking poke those dikes and drown your men. You hear me, you Spaniards? I just love the idea of that you can just break a dike, flood an area, sail a boat in there, and go for some fucking Navy Team SEAL Tech 6 Marine garbage. Just... what the hell? Just drive a boat straight into a camp. You can do that. Now's not the time, though. My mom and dad are looking at each other for a moment before gazing back down. Of course, dear. It's been a long day after all. She then looked to me, noticing that my plate was empty. Oh, you're finished, Anna? I nod, peering at Olivia and knowing she was still suffering. At 5 years old, is Anon old enough that if he was a normal child, he would have been like receptive to this? Or is he still at that age where I'd be like, I don't get it, Dad? She was still suffering. Do you think you can show her where we put her toothbrush and pajamas upstairs? I nod again and clamber off the seat. Clamber? It's a seat, Anon. You climb off a seat. Clamber sounds so heavy and cumbersome. Unless your parents buy some shitty sheets. Shitty seats. Olivia wordlessly joining me as she walked in front, both of us going upstairs. I briefly looked back at my parents, now seated beside each other. Although they were turned around, I could see both their arms over each other's shoulders, letting me imagine that their hands were also intertwined atop the table, trying to reassure each other. Oh, I know that pose, and that is... that's how you know shit's bad, when the parents need to... My parents didn't know what to do. They don't know what to do, Anon. You are using present tense. Why are you switching to past tense in like moments where you shouldn't? Again, it feels translated because those are nuances. I'm not native English speaking, okay? I just have so much experience that I can fool people into thinking I'm American. But come on. Although people usually say that I speak English with a slight American accent. You know, I sound like one of those filthy colonists. Guffaw. I wish I had a face of man to throw away when I said filthy colonists. I love face of man. Ah, there it goes. How will I watch the theater now? No. The face of man is just the glasses. I forgot what the goggles are called. Theater. Goggles. What are they? Theater glasses. There you go. Also known as theatrical this is the one I know. Galleon binoculars. Hell the fuck yeah. In addition to... made in occupied Japan? What? Why is that added to this? That's not fucking relevant to this, you bingus. There better be a face of man here. Wait, that's not a face of man. No, that is a face à main.
Face à main.
Face à main. But it can also be called a lorgnette. Lorgnette. It's French, so you just ignore half of the fucking syllables. Half of the just...
Lorgnette.
It's French. The consonants are going wild. Anyway, enough face a man's getting tossed aside callously because of those filthy colonists. My parents don't know what to do. We arrive at the upstairs toilet and I show her inside. Olivia's silent as she blankly watches. Again, I feel like you should put in more periods just to make the text feel less... Like, I get the ideas that Anon is, like, you know... It's just thought process and everything. But a lot of writing, even if they do that, they tend to separate thoughts that are run-on from Just the character describing events, as it were. Your your toothbrush is up there. The 5-year-old. Your toothbrush is up there. A point by the sink, a small step stool by the base of it. And, I look at the towel stand, her sleeping clothes hanging off the side. That's your pajamas. She quietly moves over to it and takes it off the pole. I instantly get the message, leaving the bathroom and closing the door behind me, silently waiting somewhere less awkward as I hear footsteps coming up the stairs. I turn to see my parents. My mother, of course, gestures towards the bathroom. Is she? I nod. Man, that's subtle. Suddenly hearing the door open to see Olivia again, now dressed in a jam, in her PJs, and ready for bed. For some reason, whenever I see PJ, my brain is like, that means peanut butter and jelly, right? You know, peanut, P, jelly, J. Remember to put on your PJs before bed so the dinosaurs can eat you. You gotta stay tasty, buddy. We move to my room as my dad opens the door and turns on the light. Listen, if you don't want me fucking ruining the mood, go read the fic yourself. I encourage you to. A few days ago, we had taken almost all of Olivia's stuff and brought it over from the now empty Halford household. Even her bed, which now laid set up on the other side of my room. My parents are still working on rearranging the furniture to set up Olivia's own room. The three of them make their way to the other bed as I briefly remember to get changed myself, running to the bathroom and closing the door behind me. Is it normal to keep your kids' pajamas in, like... Because if they're... could you just put it on her bed? It's such a weird thing to do. Especially if all she does is put on her pajamas, right? Just do it in the bedroom and don't... Like, too many scene shifts, you know? Keep your scenes straightforward. Oh, how I miss the day of just sleeping in a boxer shirt. It's been 5 years, Anon. It's been 5 years. You slept in a diaper. That's pretty much a boxer. Oh, that's a sentence and a half. By the time I come back out and return to the room, Olivia's lying on her bed, Edward and Joanne tucking her in. They remain by the side of her bed for a few moments as I climb into mine, wordlessly telling Olivia that they were there for her. My mom running the back of a gentle claw against the side of Olivia's snoot. Olivia shows no reaction. My parents stand back up with Edward speaking. Good night, Olivia. He then turned to me. Good night, Anon. He probably wouldn't do that because that, kid probably pick up this fucked up. I gave a small nod before they turned off the lights, leaving a small nightlight in the corner. You're 5 years old, Anon, and technically an adult. He's 24. No, 23. Yeah, 23, 24. A minute or so passes in the darkness as I stare up at the ceiling, thinking about today. Losing Fang and Nasa broke me, and I was 18. Olivia lost both of her parents. She's only 4. Again, why is it past tense? She's still 4 at this point. Come on. What a cruel and fucked up world. I mean, technically Fang and Nasa are alive. Like, don't think too hard about how that works out time-wise, buddy. Again, that's why reincarnations are a bit weird in some ways. And it's fun exploring that. The sound of a cut-off saw broke me from my thoughts, subtly shifting my hand to hear the small gasps and sniffles originating from Olivia's bed. She was crying. I imagined that she would have pulled the sheets over her. And for a moment, I recalled my decision back 5 years ago. To remain a nobody in life. To not risk fucking anything up for anyone. To never, ever try again. I don't know, I feel like emphasis would work. If only because, on the theater stage. You gotta shout at everyone because they can't hear you in the back. But after hearing Olivia weep for her dead parents and knowing that old me would have decided that this was not my problem, or worse yet, what? But after hearing Olivia weep for her dead parents and knowing that old me would have decided it's not my problem, or worse yet, made it about my... What is the sentence trying to do? Why is that bottom part? Listen, this part is that sentence. Not only does this man put sentences together that are not one sentence, he splits up sentences that really should be the same one to make sense. This should be rewritten, right? This should be train of thought. But hearing Olivia weep for her dead parents, old me would have decided that wasn't my problem. Or worse, made it about me. Something in me just snapped. Something like that. Like something that flows. Because this is so... First draft. No emphasis or attention for flow and rhythm. The rhythm and the rhyme. I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes. It's party time. It's party time. If you are attending the stream, you will, at some point, if anyone mentions party time, I will bring up Titanic. It's important. Enough of that. Fuck that. Again, italicizing this would have been a massive help because it really emphasizes that he's talking. It's just small things that really add up and make this writing so stiff. I flip. You can just flip the switch. Your room is dark. It's implied that the light is off. You even just flip the. You don't. Fuck you. I flipped the switch on my bedside lamp, lighting up the room once more. Olivia quickly stirred in her bed to face away and pretend to be asleep. And pretend to sleep. No, she's pretending to be asleep, not pretend. What am I talking about? Her form's still quivering. Shouldn't you say, like, though she's still quivering? That feels more natural. Hey. Again, I feel like I speak up makes sense in some contexts. Like when you're talking in well, there's a big conversation going on and you speak up to talk over people, it makes sense. You do not speak up if no one's talking and you're just talking. You're just saying shit at that point. Like you can put it before here and say like I speak up, hey, so like I'm interrupting this particular moment, but you can't say it after the fact because it's obvious. You've spoken. That's what you've done. Your action is there. It is. You've shown and then you tell. Why are you telling after showing? You clown. It's like, oh, you know, if telling is better than showing, if showing is better than telling, then surely doing both is better. it's the kind of fucking mindset you gotta have to do that. Fun fact, I do that too. That's why I do revisions. Sometimes I miss it, because I'm stupid too. Olivia tried to maintain the facade. By the way, fun fact, the facade, the C in facade is that funny C that the French use. Let me see if I can find it. Listen, Wikipedia, I want to see the letter C. Because I want to know how it's pronounced. The Latin script. There it is. There's that funny C. It is called the C cedilla. A wee wee. I have no particular problems. I just think it's a funny letter. But it also appears in facade. For some reason. It could just be an S. That's what you get when you import words from the French. Olivia tries to maintain the facade for a few seconds before slowly peering at me, her golden grey eyes catching mine as a smile grew on my snout. You know, I never really went back to check to see how that art stream did, posthumously. I had fun doing it. It's a little awkward showing off my art because I'm not used to that, but that was fun to do, you know? And now we have a thumbnail. Also, I got a copyright strike. Ain't that some shit? I don't know who did it, but I'm gonna teach him a lesson. I love how the initial sketches look like hot dog shit, but the final art is alright. I kind of want to see what is the copyright stuff? Jazz Club 95? Just gonna erase the song. Oh shit. Yeah, just mute all the claimed sections. It's more about the art anyway. Besides, the VOD, who fucking cares? Check this. I then prepare myself for a second, making sure she's watching. This will be my magnum opus, the first of many that I would come to do in my new life. Gathering all my energy, I did the motions, as I have done 1,000 times before. I fall snoot first off the bed. Again, snout is such a weird word to use for this. Especially since snoot is such a cute soft word. He's doing a cute soft thing. Performing a perfect high-velocity combat roll. Oh, excuse me, he's being very fancy. I fall snoot first off the bed, performing the perfect high-velocity combat roll of the century. The type that give you actual A-frames, you know, for building. I-frames in a video game. My body then readies itself for a full-body tackle that not even the best lineman could have hoped to replicate. And then my most powerful attack. I headbutt the floor. The force goes off like a motor shell, rivets of tight pressure releasing from the site of impact and... Rivets of tight pressure? Okay, I'm bullshitting. If anything, I kind of fucked it up. My legs My leg claw slipped as I gasped like an idiot, falling like a clump of scaly limbs and landing painfully on my side, my death pose having me lie on the ground. One leg above the other, while my biceps rested above my other arm. The only thing it lacked was a crater to complete the pathetic side, but I think that was too much to ask for. Anyhow, it didn't matter. It worked perfectly. Olivia's formerly teary eyes bulging as her cheeks expanded.